As the insecurity bedeviling Nigeria continues to fester, a major revenue base for the country is bearing the brunt. The Nigerian Navy says troops of Operation Delta Sanity have intercepted 4,036 barrels of crude oil and 270,600 litres of illegally refined diesel, valued at 1.05 billion naira, from oil thieves in just 1 week. Well, the Director of Naval Information, Rear Admiral Adedotun Ayo-Vaughan, says the operations also led to the deactivation of 40 wooden boats, 55 illegal refining ovens, 49 reservoirs, 27 dugout pits, and 19 illegal refining sites. Well, it's time to collectively fight the scourge of crude oil theft before it crumbles the economy. BKO, this can be a little bit worrying because we have been hearing issues of oil theft and it seems to persist. But what's your take on this? What factors would you say contribute to this persistent oil theft, despite, ongoing efforts by the Nigerian Navy to quell this worrying trend?
Well, anything that has a huge profit margin, you will kill Nigerians before you can get them off it. I'm telling you.
Is it that bad?
When they imagine how much they can make, they die there.
In dollars.
This is the point. We are not producing enough. We are not meeting our oil quota because there is so much oil theft. And oil theft is real economic sabotage. If we cannot meet our target, OPEC target, and Angola has overtaken us, even Libya, a war-torn country, has overtaken us. Something is wrong. We need to defeat oil theft so that we can stimulate greater production in that sector so that we can earn more foreign exchange, because it's still our mainstay. So if we produce more for export, we'll earn more. But the activities of these guys and the sabotage that they continue to do is grossly, seriously affecting the sector. Even some of the oil majors, some of them are thinking of leaving Nigeria. Some have left already. So it's something that we have to really do our best to defeat this scourge.
Indeed. Emeka, what would you say are the strategies now we can adopt to perhaps disrupt this illicit supply chain and also facilitate transportation of, sale of, just stop it generally, to stop the sale of crude oil?
The point is that the theft is at a sophisticated level, aided by locals. Now, you find out that in January alone, one of the weeks of January, within 5 days, there were 211 ruptures in 3 states in the Niger Delta. So people, are consistently stealing oil, helping foreigners to steal our oil and take the oil away. And you see, the investments that we need to make to get, even in the last 10 years, we have not met the OPEC quota. That is one. 2, the investment we need huge investments, make huge investments to meet up with the OPEC quota, and maybe even talk about going from 2.5 million barrels per day to 3 million barrels per day. We need huge investment. So what is being done, even globally, is that the same wells are being maintained so that they will continue producing, because investing in oil in exploration is very expensive. You need a lot of rigs and all of that. So the only way out is for government to adopt a broader approach to dealing with oil theft.
Which is?
Security-wise. Deal with it ruthlessly. Because the rogue security agents are also involved in this thing.
Yes.
Security agents are involved. The very people that are supposed to guide the pipelines are aiding criminals to rupture these pipelines. So something has to be done. Nigeria needs to develop a global effort. Maybe seek help from foreign nations. Just like the blood diamond. Nigeria said it would do it, that it would tag some of these things so that people will know that this crude is stolen. Why have we not done that? Why have we not taken extra steps to categorize these things as blood oil? The theft of these things as blood oil, so that the world will know that this is a very bad, this is something that is keeping many Nigerians in hunger and threatening to destroy our economy. So a broader approach, diplomatic approach, must be taken so that we can put an end to this scourge.
Right, well, I'll understand we have our guests joining us via Zoom. The Rear Admiral Akpan, retired Rear Admiral Akpan, was former Chief of Administration at the Naval Headquarters and Flag Officer commanding Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy. Good to have you on the program this evening. So first off, let's begin with your assessment on the effectiveness of past naval operations in targeting oil theft. And what factors would you say contribute to the success or failure? What are your thoughts?
Firstly, let me thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on TVC. Thank you for the prelude you gave before the questions you asked. But let me look at what happened in our time. By the year 2006, I was FOC West, and at that time we were involved in what they call the opportunistic operation, which is typical of all navies with less technology or less surveillance over its maritime domain space. So what we did was to go out to sea, looking for opportunities where we can grab those who are hell-bent on sabotaging oil production in Nigeria. But as Flag Officer Commanding, I recommended to Naval Headquarters that we shock or we block all our extracts. So with the partnership I had from SNEPCO Shell, that had the intention of restarting the EA2 oil well of Escavos. We had one vessel at Escavos, Estrans, and one at Focadis. And then, of course, we had a vessel at the Lagos approach. Of course, Lagos had no oil well, so it wasn't threatened. But we needed to keep these steel ships there 24/7 for months at Anchorage. And occasionally they wear up anchor and just go around. And what I did was to leave my office in Lagos, go to the positions where my boys are, stay with them for a while and come back to Lagos. That way, no matter the amount of crude oil that you stole, you will not be able to take it out to the mother ships that were waiting to steal our crude. That was how we contained it in Western Naval Command, and we had zero tolerance for crude oil theft. So even if you stole the oil, there was no way to take it out. I think it was bent on these pressures that we impacted on stolen crude. Very simple exercise. That started building local refineries and started smoking or cooking crude oil because there was no channel. And if there was any advent of crude oil being stolen, the commanding officers and the ship's company of the ship that were stationed at the estuaries will be held, of course, responsible and accountable. That was the simple thing that we did then. But today, the Nigerian Navy has improved. There is a maritime domain awareness system called the Falcon Eye system. The Falcon Eye system uses technologies from satellite imaging systems. It has 13 radars and HF radars. It also has cameras that play surveillance from the Republic of Cameroon, the joint developing zone with Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, right up to Togo. So if you stole any crude oil or carried it in any of the vessels, the Falcon Eye system will pick you. It is because of that same pressure that those who break up pipelines are succeeding in selling it to the local refineries that cook crude oil. So if you look at the amount that is being stolen, it's infinitesimal. When you hear of the big losses, I think NNPC should be able to tell us where these losses occur, because they do not occur from these small boats that tamper with our pipes, with crude oil, and they are not able to take it out, because if they do, the Falcon Eye will pick them. The Falcon Eye system is domiciled in Naval Headquarters. It has a monitor in the office of the National Security Advisor. So what you see on your monitoring system in Naval Headquarters is also seen in the office of National Security Advisor, and I think there's a monitor at the Aso Rock. So everybody is seeing and watching what goes on at sea. But in the creeks, that is why we have the enablement of some security agents to patrol or monitor the oil and gas pipelines. The Nigerian Navy primarily is responsible for providing conducive maritime security environment for economy to thrive. And the maritime domain of Nigeria includes the Chad, the rivers, the streams, and of course our largest expanse of exclusive economic zone of 84,000 square nautical miles at sea, right up to 200 nautical miles. So that is quite a huge and a large expanse of water. But with the new technology of the Falcon Eye, you can sit in the comfort of your office and monitor and have ships standing by to proceed to areas where they have malfeasance. We also have increased our fleet of helicopters. I'm a pioneer pilot, and I'm proud to say that the boys have been doing very well in terms of intercepting malfeasance at sea. The Nigerian Navy last month inaugurated about 20 drones, pilotless aircraft, with the pilots themselves, ready to launch to be able to monitor the backwaters. So with technology, the Nigerian Navy has improved, and with its beautiful class of new ships, is able to meet up the expectations of Nigerians in ensuring that maritime security is achieved in the maritime domain area of Nigeria.
Thank you, Rear Admiral. I want to ask this question. Non-state actors are now involved in helping us to police our oil installations and all that, and stop this oil theft that is going on. How do you describe this effort on the part of Tantita and the rest of them to help us or to complement the efforts of the Navy in policing our waters and stop the oil theft? Is there really some advantage, or what are the advantages and disadvantages that you see? Secondly, do you subscribe to the idea of destroying vessels that are found to have been used to steal our crude, given the damage that that can cause to the environment?
Firstly, let me take the last question first, and I'll come to the issue of having non-state actors protecting oil and gas pipelines. The untoward situation in Niger Delta, the degraded environment has deprived the demographics from fresh water, no farmlands, no fishing lands, and they are in very dire situation. You need to fly over the Niger Delta, and you will find the reflections of oil and all kinds of pollutants spreading from Lagos to Kwaibu, to Eket, to Calabar River. So I do not subscribe at all. I will never subscribe to the destruction of crude oil laden ships when caught. I will subscribe to the fact that the federal government to seize the commodity because it belongs to us. It should not be destroyed. The state of the environment in the Niger Delta is worse than any other threat you can envisage. The greatest threat facing the Niger Delta demographics is pollution from crude oil, horse pipes, and all kinds of indiscriminate cooking of crude oil. That is the greatest threat we face, not the threats of militancy or whatever. The greatest threat to the Niger Delta demographics today is the environment. And I will not subscribe to destruction. Instead, I'll subscribe to seizures and heavy penalties and sanctions to those who accompany such seizures. Now to the issue of non-state actors protecting the pipelines. Well, I'm not against it, but I have not seen the contract that was given to Tantita. But one knows that these same elements who are the headship of Tantita were the ones that were breaking up these pipelines in the 70s when I was FOC. So we need to look at the integrity of those that have been contracted to police our oil and gas pipelines. And all I can say that they are just to serve as intelligence and information gathering for those who have constituted to protect these assets. And I believe that the Nigerian Navy is the hegemony in providing maritime security for all stakeholders in Nigeria. So I hope that the contents of their work is to support the Navy by offering intelligence and information to would-be malfeasance so the Navy can go out there and do its job. I do not think, I hope that the integrity of the company that has been employed has been vetted properly to know that they are free of all encumbrances of the past, so that they can really deliver on the job they've been doing. But be that as it may, all the supporting projects or supporting contracts that have been given is all to ensure that Nigeria has a conducive maritime environment for the economy to thrive. So I support people being engaged to protect the oil and gas pipeline. The job is enormous. The Nigerian Navy cannot do it all alone, because if you look at the seaward aspect of it, private security companies with ships in collaboration with IOCs are also assisted in monitoring and securing the oil and gas installation offshore, far into the sea. So if that could be done for the oil and gas pipeline, including and complementing the effort of the National Defense Civil Corps, because that's their responsibility, that is welcome. But I hope that their integrity will be intact, and not to come out there and start challenging the authenticity of the Nigerian Navy. The Nigerian Navy is an institution that was born out of an act of parliament. It's an institution that has been around for more than 60 years. It's an institution that has delivered on its mandate. And I think the best they could do, the so-called companies that are protecting oil and gas pipeline, is to gather intelligence from their locality and forward sail in supportive role to the Nigerian Navy, not to be combating Nigerian Navy for relevance in terms of the space and maritime domain. Okay. Nigerian Navy is the constituted authority that is responsible for providing, with the collaboration of all other maritime stakeholders, customs, immigrations, NIMASA, the MPA, NIWA, you name it, to ensure that our maritime domain awareness has the security and conducive environment for the economy to thrive. So any other effort will be in supporting role, and I hope that is what they are doing.
Right.
Yeah, so how do you react to the alleged involvement of security personnel in this large-scale oil theft? Because it's just like, you see, you hand over items to those who are supposed to get, and they are helping thieves to move these things away. How do you think this can be dealt with?
Well, in my time, I never had any occasion, like I told you, I reverted to defense in depth to protect our oil and gas exploration. And I know that we have a tradition in the Navy of bringing out huge sanctions on any officer or rating that's in collusion with oil thefts from the time past. And I know that Admiral Adedotun will be up to it to ensure that across board, officers show up in good stead, in integrity, to do the work they've been assigned to do. And I know that if any officer or rating is found to have colluded with oil thefts, he will be dealt with the strongest arm of the law. And that is what I think is still going on in the Navy.
Right, and that's a fine place to live. Thank you so much for your insight shared with us. Retired Rear Admiral Akpan was a former chief of the administration at the Naval Headquarters and flag officer commanding Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us on Journalist Hangout this
Thank you so much for having me, and good luck to the Super Eagles.
Yes, we shall win, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. Well, that's where we wrap this week's episode, this Wednesday edition, rather, of Journalist Hangout. I'd like to thank. All right, before we go, let me quickly get your final perspective on, our games coming up in just a few minutes from now. Bajide.
I expect us to win.
Yes, I do expect us to win. So what's your prediction for the games?
I predict a slim win, because we are not a high-scoring side. But if it pleases God to let us win with a landslide or with a wide margin, we'll take it.
All right, on you, what about you?
Yeah, I'm looking at 2-0. That will hit it in quickly and then wrap it up later, 2-0. And I trust our boys will do well.
All right, before we go, I'd like to also wish one of our